Well, folks, we have some, of course, breaking news on the verdict in the Diddy trial. If you don't know, I want to make sure to get you updated on all this. You see it right there on your screen. Count one, racketeering. He was found not guilty. Count two, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, not guilty. Count three, transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty. Count four, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and not guilty. And finally, that fifth count, transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty. So two of the five, and those two are the lesser charges. So there's a lot to get to. And joining us now is former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. And Neama, always great to have you on. Thank you for spending some time with us. Obviously, this is a big story and big breaking news. Let's just get straight to it. You're a former federal prosecutor. If you were prosecuting Sean Diddy Combs and now, and even just being an observer of this, any shock, any surprise to this verdict? What was your initial reaction?
Kelvin, I'm shocked, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm a former federal prosecutor. This is nothing less than a complete and total loss by the Department of Justice and what will go down as the most expensive prostitution trial in American history. You can forget about those Mann Act charges. Diddy's going to get little to no time. He may walk out of jail today with bond, and he absolutely should. The jurors rejected the sex trafficking allegations. They did not believe victims Cassie Ventura, Mia, and Jane. And I thought there's a potential path to racketeering with the non-sex related activity, the kidnapping, the arson of Kid Cudi's car, the extortion of Cassie's mom, the bribery, the payment of $100,000 for that hotel surveillance video at the Intercontinental here in Los Angeles. But the jury even rejected all of that. So huge win for Combs and his defense team. They have to be ecstatic, elated. But, you know, again, the prostitution, really a throw-in charge, not something serious at all, and don't expect to see a lot of time with respect to those counts.
Neama, it seemed that the defense kind of banked on a lot of the prosecution's witnesses and kind of said, we don't have anything else to do. We don't have to say anything. It's almost as if they felt the prosecution did them a favor by some of the witnesses they brought up and was banking on some of the text messages exchanges that they had. And oftentimes it were some where you saw Cassie saying, hey, you know, I'm looking forward to the freak off. Can't wait to do this. And what do you want to do with it? Do you think that played a role maybe in some of the jurors' minds of saying that she knew about it, wanted it, participated willingly?
Kelvin, that's absolutely right, and spoken like a good lawyer. I mean, let's go through it, right? I mean, the witnesses were impeached by their own words. Cassie Ventura, plenty of emails and text messages saying, I want to get freaky, can't wait to do it again. There wasn't a single one where she said she did not want to freak off, right? She loved it. She was planning it. She's communicating with the sex workers. She's paying them. Over the course of 10 years, jurors were asking themselves, well, if you were trafficked, if you were abused, if you were raped like you said you were, why didn't you leave? Next, victim Mia, she was the personal assistant. She's posting on social media about how much she loves Diddy. This is like her brother. She never reported the sexual assault to law enforcement. She didn't even tell prosecutors when she initially met with them. And most recently, victim Jane. She was the OnlyFans model who is still getting her rent paid by Diddy. She's getting clothes, she's getting bags, she's getting jewels. Diddy told her that he didn't want monogamy. He wanted a polyamorous relationship. And I think jurors thought, well, hey, this is someone who knew what she was getting herself into, and this was a transactional relationship. So a lot of mistakes by the prosecution. They didn't call KK, Combs's chief of staff, his right-hand woman, D-Rock, his security, who was involved in a lot of this. Victim Gina, who was named in the indictment, she went MI, didn't show up at trial at all. So really poor presentation by the prosecution, and they failed to anticipate how the victim's own words, or at least now the alleged victims, were going to be used against them.
Neama, you mentioned at the top here, you said there's a chance that he could actually walk out of there today if the judge is okay with the bond. He was found guilty on 2 counts and could be behind bars for a decade. That's where are we with this? Is this, I mean, if you were to guess, what do you think could happen?
Yeah, so everyone talks about the potential maximum sentence of 10 years. But again, it's prostitution, right? And let's be real, Kelvin. If Diddy is guilty of prostitution, so is Cassie Ventura. So is Jane. They were paying the sex workers themselves. So it's not a serious offense. the case shouldn't have been brought if it was just prostitution. The judge should release Combs today on bail, and ultimately he should get time served. Maybe he'll get more than that. I heard that the prosecution's asking for 20 years, 10 years on each count. That's ridiculous. If you're a prosecutor, you're supposed to pursue justice, not wins and losses. Take your loss. The jury has spoken. Move on to the next case.
And I want to ask you this too. Maybe if you're Cassie Ventura, and I want to walk back a little bit here, Neema, walk with me for a second. She comes out, and we know she had the civil case with Diddy and also the hotel. We all saw the video, and a lot of people said she's a champion because they saw the video. Wow, she stood up for herself. This is great. Then all of a sudden, this case comes with the racketeering charges, and a lot of people are saying, and we see the text messages. I had someone on, Ariva Martin, earlier, and she was saying that this was a setback for the Me Too movement. Where do you come out on that? If you were, the prosecutor in this, and Cassie Ventura, the Jane, and some other folks in this, some will say this was a setback because they came up, they spoke their truth, they said this is what happened to me, and then yet here we are with this verdict. Just your 2 cents on trying to find the balance of them selling their truths and what they've gone through, but also, as you said, you still have to prove these things in court, and to some jurors, they didn't.
Ariva's one of the best, Kelvin. She went to Harvard Law School before me, and she knows what she's talking about. This is absolutely a huge setback for victims of sexual assault and abuse. Imagine showing up in court, the entire world is watching, and you're talking about these graphic, explicit, horrific acts, right? You're being urinated on, including in your mouth. You're forced to take drugs to the point that you throw up and still have to participate in these sex acts. You have to have sex when you're menstruating, when you're on a UTI, really terrible stuff. And you're telling the story, real personal details while you're pregnant. And the jurors don't believe you. Look, I don't do any criminal defense work. I just represent victims now that I'm no longer a federal prosecutor. And I can tell you, Kelvin, so many times victims come into my office and they tell me, Neema, I can't do it. I can't tell my story. I can't relive this trauma in a very public way in a courtroom. And now imagine telling your story and 12 men and women, they don't believe you. They think you're lying. They think you're not credible. What's going to happen to future victims who want to come forward? So yeah, that's absolutely right. This will have a chilling effect.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see how this all continues to play out. Neama Rahmani, attorney and former federal prosecutor, I appreciate your time as always. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Kevin. Talk soon.